Hello, citizen journalists! You can all start calling yourselves that because you, whether you like it or not, are a news source now. More than 1/3 of Americans get their news from Facebook alone, which means that until one of their friends, that's you, shares the story, that might as well not exist for 80 million people. So what does this mean for the news industry as a whole? Well, bad news. And then kind of good news. And then really, really awful news. Kind of like a news sandwich, except one end is the heel of the loaf because you just ran out of bread and it's on fire. Here's me with more on that story. It's no secret that we don't read newspapers anymore. Tribunes, Posts, Heralds, they've all gone out of business and folded like newspapers. But we've also stopped watching news on television in the last few years, which means that outlets are clean out of ideas for how to make any money off of you. But good riddance, right? Let that dinosaur go extinct. News shouldn't belong to anyone. As long as we've got Reddit and Twitter to aggregate stories from Gawker and Daily Mail and HuffPo, then what's the problem? I mean, of course, there's the minor issue of those stories having to originate somewhere, and the fact that old media was doing the heavy lifting of fact-checking, conducting interviews, and making sure stories weren't utter bullshit, but come on, f that bottleneck, right? Some of the best news we get is made-up news. Remember that woman who had sex with a dolphin? That's awesome. My point is, who needs a sewage treatment center when we all enjoy a little in our streams? Besides, the truth eventually makes it to the surface and no one gets hurt along the way. Theoretically. But here's the good news. Everyday people, when they started turning into journalists, they actually started turning into journalists. Think of the last time you heard about a massive storm, or a riot, or a meteor, and there wasn't accompanying video footage. There are a hell of a lot more of us than there are of old world field reporters, so no matter what happens, we've got a makeshift photojournalist on the scene immediately. In fact, even actual news has started relying on everyday people to send in their grainy footage in the wake of a major event. See, we don't need corroboration from multiple witnesses when there's photographic and first-hand evidence of just about everything that happens. The Ukrainian Revolution, the Japanese tsunami, Ferguson are all testaments to people having the presence of mind to bravely sacrifice experience for posterity. Each time you film or photograph a major event with your phone, you are stepping outside of history to be a witness, saying, "This moment doesn't belong to me. My emotions don't matter. I have an obligation to share this with the world." And that's such a selfless and incredibly brave thing to do. I'm proud of everyone who steps up. Oh, see, you f***ed it. You f***ed it all up. For about 5 minutes in history, we were on course to courageously advance the world of journalism, and then you slid your stupid face in front of the moment and you ruined everything. You couldn't just help somehow making it about you. And yes, I'm completely aware that I'm doing this as a video instead of an article. So what? Follow me on Twitter! Now here's the really, really awful on fire news. These instances of regular people injecting themselves into important events with selfies are a pretty good metaphor for what we all secretly want in our news now. More us. Objectively, news can't hold our attention anymore. We need to know how and why it affects us specifically, or we can't bring ourselves to care. Don't agree? Go scroll through your news feed. See which stories you recently shared or discussed on social media. I'm betting that each one advances a cause that you personally believe in. That mass school shooting, that police brutality, that measles outbreak only matters when we can use it as a weapon to some bigger argument. We all do it. That's fine, or at least it would be if 80 million people weren't getting their news directly from us and we weren't getting it from them. See, we aren't journalists, and we never will be journalists, citizen or otherwise, because we can't separate ourselves from the actual events. Instead, we figure out a way to bend tragedies to our own gains. If a female cop shoots a black man, everyone will run to their camps and figure out how to make this story proof of our own point, whether that's gun control or evil cops or the dangers of feminism. The actual story only sort of matters. It's what you can do with it that counts. Those people taking selfies during major moments weren't saying, "Look at what's happening." They were saying, "Look at what's happening to me." If we can't make a story fit our personal agenda, we bury it so no one else sees it. And in that respect, our brave new citizen journalism is essentially just Fox News with less attractive people. I mean, for the most part. Some of you are like human interest story hot, that's pretty good still. They don't just let anyone go to the zoo and cover those baby gorillas. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you agree with me, or even if you don't agree with me and you want to tell me how much you hate me, go ahead and do it in the comments. I may not read them, but there's a chance that as I'm watching my video of myself, I'll accidentally bump my mouse and it will just scroll down and I'll see all of these hateful things said about me, which is fine. I've got a lot of good things going on, so I'm not